Hello beautiful people. Today we're hanging out. So I have a lot of buttons, vintage buttons, buttons that have just been handed down to me, including like some people's button stashes, and I need to organize them. So it's wonderful having this many buttons because I'm never, well, I shouldn't say never, but I can almost always find something in my stash that I can use. But it like takes me a long time to find what I need when I need it. So I need to organize them, and I have some things coming from Amazon. Actually, they should be here today. I'm gonna go pick them up right away here. Little organizers, just because we haven't been anywhere to pick anything up, so I had to order on Amazon. Anyway, so I want to start sorting my buttons, and I thought a good way to make me do it is to film it and we can chat, or I can chat while we do that. So I put it out on Instagram and on YouTube community tab to see if you guys had any questions for me about really anything, and I got a few questions. And then other than that, I think I'm just gonna share with you kind of some of my sewing pet peeves that I see and do. And yeah, so other than that, it's just gonna be kind of me sorting these buttons and chatting to you. So let me show you what I have to work with here. And this is like the majority of my stash. I know I do have more, I don't know, somewhere else, I think in the garage, but this is the majority of what I have here. So let me show you. All right, so this tin I inherited. It was kind of a couple different things from the same lady, so I just dumped them into the same tin. There's some really cool stuff in here. Have to go through that. And then these are ones that I think I inherited from, you know, another lady. I have, so all of those. There's some from my great grandma in here, and probably some from my grandma as well. These I bought. These are like those fun little buttons. And then more here. This was a bag I purchased probably from Walmart, I think. And I think I actually have another one, something similar to this, or maybe I dumped them all together. So that's kind of, I mean, it doesn't look like a lot when I do this, but it's a lot. And I'm hoping I have enough storage for them, but we're gonna find out, I guess. So my goal is to sort them into ones that can be used together. So obviously if there's any like matching pairs or sets, then keep those together. Anything that is in like on cardstock, they are pretty much all vintage like that. So I'd like to keep them on those if possible. You know, if there's one by itself or something, I maybe won't, we'll see. And then anything that's single and like is really off and can't really match anything, like for example this, if I didn't have anything that can match it, then I'll put that by itself, and I might put all the singles in like one of these, so then I know that that's just by itself and there's nothing that's gonna match it. If I just need a single button, I can just grab that and find it. So let's get started. First thing I think I'm gonna do here is just kind of, I don't even know, get at it. The good news is I love organizing and sorting and decluttering and purging and all of that. So this is actually kind of fun for me, which brings me to my first, I guess, question I had, or yeah, question, I guess, is about downsizing. So we downsized. I have a video about this, so I mean, I don't go into like a ton of detail, and I probably will never go into all the details because it's quite personal, but we downsized 2 years ago. We've been in our house here now just over 2 years, and we previously lived in about a like not quite 3,000 square foot home. We built it, like we designed it all ourselves and built it and all of that. It's brand new, obviously. And it was on an acreage. We were on the family farm, so it had we had as much land as we could have ever wanted, and all of that. And then we decided to move to town, and when we were looking at houses in town, well, we looked at a house in town, and we loved it, absolutely loved it, but it was actually bigger than the house we were, like our house that we had built. And that wasn't, at the time when we were looking, like we weren't looking to downsize. That wasn't a reason for moving to town. But having a bigger house obviously comes with its own set of, you know, extra costs and extra maintenance and that kind of stuff. And the mortgage that we would have had to take out on that home to purchase that home was going to be, it would have meant that I would have had to, I was babysitting at the time, so I would have had to take on more kids, which I didn't really want to do, and it would have been like I would have had to have a real job kind of thing. And up to that point we were I was a stay-at-home mom, and I did a little bit of work babysitting on the side. So yeah, so that was something we just didn't really care to do. And there was other external circumstances that that played into the decision too. In the end, we actually ended up researching modular homes, which is what we ended up buying. When we built our house on the farm, I was like dead set against a modular home. I was like, no way I will ever live in a trailer. You know, I was young and naive and had my own preconceived notions about what they were. And then when it became an actual possibility that we might certainly purchase one, of course we were researching, or I was researching, and my husband kind of knew more than I did about them at that time. Through that process, it like took away all of my fears about owning a modular home or trailer or house trailer, whatever you want to call it. I have zero, like, I don't know, I'm not ashamed to live in a house trailer, if you want to call it that. You know, like that doesn't, I don't care about that. I have a home, I love it. Anyway, where was I going with this? So we ended up buying some land in town, a property in town. I guess it's not called land. We purchased a lot in town, and we moved this brand new trailer home here. And lo and behold, it is 1,200. The trailer that we brought in is 1,200 square feet, at 1,216 square feet, I think it is. So we obviously downsized a lot. And at this point, I had already started packing our house up to move into the bigger house. And so I wasn't really getting rid of much things. Like I was definitely selling some things off, like mostly like baby stuff and just stuff that we knew we weren't going to use and all of that. But I was packing it to move, basically. And then we decided we were for sure going ahead with this purchase of this home. So then I had to repack all that stuff and like ended up getting rid of stuff. So in the end, we ended up getting rid of 60% of our things. That's my guesstimate, right? Of course, on the farm we had outbuildings galore, and we had all the storage we could ever want, and that kind of thing, and the big garage and everything like that. And of course, the plan when we moved here was to build a garage on, but we knew that wasn't going to happen right away. So so we definitely had to get rid of things. We went down to one little shed that my husband built, plus we moved our shed from the old place, which we actually moved from like our very first home. The shed has moved a lot. I think that we've moved it like 6 times total. And so we didn't have a lot of like extra storage. We stored some stuff at my parents', just like the bigger outdoor things that we needed for when we built the garage, and my husband, eventually we purchased a shop and things like that. The biggest question I had, like of course this was a shock to our entire families, all our friends, everything. Most of our friends, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of our friends live out in the country or are trying to move out into the country. And so for us to, from the outside looking in, have it all and then want to move into town was just like bonkers. Like nobody around here understood that, because that's just not the way that most people around here live. You know, the goal is always to have the privacy and the space of living out in the country. So yeah, so it was a lot of like, I don't want to say defending ourselves, because that's not true. There was no attacks, but we did have to like explain a lot of what our decisions were and why we were downsizing. or why we were moving to town more so, and then the downsizing thing, like I said, it just kind of snowballed into that, which in the end we were like so thrilled about. So I guess my the points that I want to drive home on this are that through downsizing and whatever process it takes to come to that conclusion, I truly believe it is amazing for everyone. Honestly, we have our 1,200 square foot home, and then we built on my sewing room and a little mud room, which you guys have seen, and then the garage, and we own a shop now. And through all of that, I would downsize again. I would go smaller. I would live in a tiny house. I would live in a RV and travel on the road full time. Like I would build living quarters onto a shop and live in that. Like, I don't want a traditional home long term. Right now we are very, very happy where we are, and we love it and all of that. But space and the notion of a house was never like important to me, I guess. And through this process, I really realized that. So when people would ask us, you know, is it hard to get rid of all your things? How did you get rid of all your stuff? And like, what does that feel like? How hard was that? And I was like, it's great. I've never felt more liberated. And that's really how I want to continue my life going forward. Now, of course, we've lived here for 2 years, and how much more stuff have we brought in and things like that. So I'm constantly going through things and purging so that we can fit into this home. And we've had people tell us like, oh, you need a bigger house, or, you know, when the kids get things as gifts or whatever, oh, you don't have enough space, you need a bigger house. No. That'll never, I say never, but right now we can never see us living in a bigger home. We don't believe that you need a home to suit your things. We believe that we have too much stuff if it doesn't fit into our home. You know, like 1,200 square feet is enough. It is more than enough for a family, and a family of 4 like we are. We really wanted to focus on doing things as a family and like experiences and all that over stuff. And that's kind of how we've gone forward with our lives now. And through the downsizing process, that's really what we realized, I guess. It was always something that we thought, but we never, I guess we just never did anything about it. You know how that is? Like you just dream and never do anything about it. And so through the downsizing process and moving to town, it really made us just really take a good hard look at our lives and realize that if we want something and we put our minds to it, we will get it, and we will get it the way we want. I don't really know what else to say about downsizing other than if it's something that you've thought about, and if it's something that you think is going to be the answer to your problems, then do it. Find a way to do it and do it. From the time we decided we were buying this house until we actually like bought it, I was on the phone constantly. We had bank meetings. We went down to, you know, drove 2 hours to go look at the house and all of that. And it happened very, very quickly. You can make it happen if you want to. And I do believe that, that everybody should be doing what they want to be happy. You know, lean on help if you need to. People are going to be more than willing to help than you even can think that they will be. I don't know, downsizing is just like the best thing we could have ever done for our family. And when we were doing, you know, moving and telling people we were moving and all that, again, there was a lot of concerns about what we were doing, and we just kept saying it's a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle change. And 100% it was a lifestyle change, and only for the better. So again, if it's something that you are considering and you think would suit your family, then do it. Or if you haven't thought about it, but you're in like a crazy place in your mind and you keep thinking you need a bigger house, maybe reconsider and maybe like change the way that you look at things. If you love your home and you want to be in that home, then find a way to make it work. Get rid of stuff. Like, honestly, get rid of stuff. Your kids aren't going to play with all those toys, or you know, pack them away and do a toy rotation or something like that. There's ways to make it happen. But anyway, downsizing. This took me what, 15 minutes to tell you about downsizing. So yeah, that's a thing. Okay, next question I had was on budgeting. Budgeting, especially for sewing. So now you guys aren't gonna wanna hear this probably, but I don't have a budget for sewing because sewing is my work, right? So I really don't have a budget. I am really bad with sewing stuff. I will just purchase and purchase and purchase. So I don't really want to talk about that because I'm a very bad example of budgeting for sewing things. But I'm going to talk about what we do to budget elsewhere in our lives, and then like you could take that to apply to your sewing, which is what I actually need to do. And well, I just need to stop buying, which put myself on a spending freeze currently. So I want to sew up my stash. But anyway. So what we do is we kind of follow the Gail Vaz Oxlade till death do us part type of method, and a little bit of Jordan Page's Fun, Cheaper, Free. She is on YouTube, so you can find her here too. But basically we have, so I went through and like we take our monthly salary, and then I subtract all our fixed expenses. So mortgage, you know, bills and savings and anything that is fixed, taxes, things like that we can't change. And I subtract that, and then what's left is what we have to spend. So from our spending money, then I divide that out into things like fuel, groceries. I divide out our water and sewer bill. I don't know why I do that. I shouldn't do that, but anyway, I guess because I have to pay it manually. And then spending and savings that I call fun savings. So like if we're saving up for something like a trampoline or something, you know, something fun that we plan to spend in the short term. And then my husband gets money, like he has like allowance, we call it, but it's, you know, his spending money that he can do whatever he wants with. So I divide that out. So so whatever, like our grocery budget is tiny. We follow Jordan Page, so she recommends $100 per month per person of the family. So we have 4 people, so that's $400 a month. Now she lives in the States, so I mean the exchange rate's a little different, but, and we like, I do try to stick to $100 a week, but that just, sometimes it's not doable. So I did bump up our budget to $120 a week for groceries, and that's manageable. I can actually come in under that a lot of weeks, and it just gives us some room if we need to purchase, you know, for a birthday party, or if we're going to a potluck or something like that. And then, you know, our fuel, my husband's fuel is all through the business, so we don't have that expense. It's just the car fuel for our car. And honestly, I go nowhere. Like once in a while, like obviously I go for groceries once a week, which I also only go for groceries once a week. And I try to plan out like errands around that and stuff like that. But other than that, we really don't drive. In the summer, of course, we do more with camping and things like that. And so my fuel budget very rarely gets used up unless we have appointments in the city or something like that. And then our spending is for things like gifts or going out to eat, or whatever we want to spend it on, camping, anything like that. And that's kind of all we use. And the reason, like, we're on a very strict budget. I say strict, but I don't always follow it. But the reason is because we're on track, or we are planning to pay off our mortgage in 5 years from the start date. So we're 2 years in, so 3 more years. So we will be 32 when we pay off our mortgage, as long as everything stays as planned. And that's why, so we're making the sacrifices now, you know, not having so much spending money and things like that, so that we can be debt free when we're 32. And right now our mortgages are only debt. So living on a smaller budget is, which if you guys knew how much we lived on, like some of our friends would be like, should be in the poorhouse. But it allows me to be a stay-at-home mom and do YouTube and, you know, kind of build my sewing business if I want to. being on a budget is very important, and we are very bad without a budget. So if we don't have a budget, then things are just like, we would be in massive debt, like legit. So we need a budget, and we need to, you know, stick to it, kind of thing. We save ahead for Christmas, or at least I try to, you know, put some money away every month so that it's not so much at once. Or you know, you could also just shop throughout the year, but then just be careful with that, because I don't know, some people end up buying more than they need at that, if they do that. Okay, I'll get back to budgeting in a minute, but I just got back from the mail, and these are what I got. So I was hoping they were a little bigger, but I mean, they are what they are. They come in pack of 4, and I got 2 packs, so there's 8 of these containers, and they are like this. They have a latch on them. I have some of these for snaps already, so I just bought the same ones. And they have the dividers inside, so I think there's 15 dividers in there. You could take these out if you needed a bigger space, but I'll have them linked in my Amazon favorites shop for you guys, which I have in the description box always, if you want to check them out. I think they'll be great for buttons other than the bigger buttons. But yeah, ideally I wanted like a big like tool case, but they're expensive, like really expensive. So this is what I ended up going with, and I don't know, we'll see how it is. I was thinking I would do like, I don't know now, I was gonna do like black in probably 2 different black ones, 2 different white ones, maybe a brown one, and then all the other colors kind of just jumbled around in the other ones. But now I'm wondering if I should do size instead. I know it'll be done by the time you see this, but leave me a comment. Which would you do? Would you do by size or by color? Or maybe I'll do like a big one just for big buttons. Oh man, I don't know what to do. Anyway, budgeting. So, what I was getting at with the budgeting is that you can apply it to your sewing. So what you would do, or what I would do, is I would take, you know, a portion of your spending money for that month, and then you would divvy that out into your sewing. Now, you can just keep it general, like sewing, and that's what you have to spend on all sewing supplies for that month. You know, that includes fabric, patterns, books, notions, threads, whatever you need. Or you could divvy it up even more, look at what you need kind of coming up in the month or the year, and kind of decide what you're going to spend where. What I love about budgeting, which is going to sound really nerdy, but what I love about budgeting is that it's like, it makes you like try and go further with your money, you know what I mean? So like when I come in under budget, it's like a thrill. How lame is that? But yeah, so I don't know, it's fun. It's fun. I like budgeting. Sounds kind of lame, but I don't know. So that's what I would do if I was on a budget for my sewing. Yeah, I like that these are clear. You can also get these in color, but they're not like all the same color, and I didn't love that. So this is what I went with, and not disappointed. Okay, so that was actually all the questions I got. You guys, you need to ask me questions when I put up a Q&A, so I have questions to talk about. It can be anything, like personal, non-personal, whatever. You know, sewing related, whatever your heart desires to ask, just ask. And it doesn't mean I'm gonna answer you, you know, if you ask something really ridiculously personal, but you know. So I thought it would be fun to share some of my pet peeves of sewing. And I just want to say that this isn't like, I'm not calling anyone out. I don't want you to feel bad if you do any of these things, because I am confident that I do things that other sewists would cringe at as well. So let's just clear that up. I'm not perfect. And not saying that any of these things are like necessarily wrong, some of them are, but you know what I'm trying to say. So one of my sewing pet peeves, or that it's something that I see other people doing that makes me cringe, is when they when you turn the hand wheel on the sewing machine the wrong way. Like, that is a big no-no, and this is actually something that is like wrong. You can throw the timing out on your sewing machine if you do that. So if you do this, stop, please. You're going to wreck your sewing machine. So that's something that really makes me cringe, and that's like the #1 thing I teach in my sewing classes is don't turn your hand wheel the wrong way. Another sewing pet peeve I have, when people are using a rotary cutter, and this is like, I really only see this on YouTube videos, but they like go back and forth. And again, it's like there's probably nothing wrong with it, but it drives me bonkers because I don't know, I just think that your rotary cutter should be sharp enough to just slide through once. Cutting paper with your fabric scissors, or your rotary cutter that you cut fabric with, it's another one that drives me crazy. And what else? I'm sure there's more. I know there's more because I was going to actually do a whole video on this, but then I thought it would be kind of rude. Alright, well, I have my little helpers here now, so I think I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to work on this. If you guys have any more questions, always just Instagram message me, or, you know, leave it in the comments or whatever. Happy to answer questions if I have experience with them. And other than that, I don't have too much to say, so I will catch you in the next video. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.